Thanksgiving had always been my favorite holiday. It wasn't about the turkey or the pumpkin pie or even the football games on TV. It was about family, sitting around the table, laughing, remembering old times. But that year, everything changed. I had just finished carving the turkey when my daughter, Emily, stood up. Her face was tight, her voice cold. "Dad," she said, "if you really want to give us the best gift this year, the best gift would be for you to be gone." At first, I thought she was joking. Maybe the stress of cooking, maybe she was tired. But then I looked around the table. My son-in-law avoided my eyes, the grandkids stayed quiet, and Emily's arms were crossed like she meant every word. Something inside me broke. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I simply nodded, swallowed the lump in my throat, and finished my meal in silence. That night, while they all slept, I sat in the guest room and thought. I thought about the years I had worked overtime so Emily could go to college. I thought about how I helped with the down payment for their house. I thought about the birthdays, the Christmas mornings, the scraped knees I'd kissed better when she was just a little girl. And now, the best gift was for me to be gone. So that's what I decided to do. The next morning, before anyone woke up, I drove to the bank. I made a payment that would change everything. I paid off their mortgage in full, every last cent. Their house was theirs now. No more monthly bills, no more worries. Then I booked a one-way ticket to Hawaii. Somewhere far away, somewhere warm, somewhere I could finally breathe. But before leaving, I wrote a letter. I placed it on Emily's desk where she couldn't miss it. The letter wasn't angry. It wasn't bitter. It was simple. It read, "Emily, you said the best gift would be for me to be gone. So here it is. The house is now fully yours. No debts, no strings attached. I will no longer be in your way. I hope this is the peace you wanted. Dad." When she found that letter, I know it destroyed her. Because sometimes the loudest words are written in silence. When Emily woke up the next morning, she expected to find me in the kitchen, brewing my usual cup of coffee. Instead, she found silence. The smell of fresh coffee was gone. My old jacket was missing from the hanger, and the house felt emptier. Then she saw the envelope on her desk. She tore it open quickly, maybe thinking it was a note about groceries or bills. But as her eyes moved across the words, her hands began to tremble. By the time she reached the last line, "I hope this is the peace you wanted. Dad." Tears blurred her vision. "Mom!" she shouted, her voice cracking. Her husband rushed into the room, confused. She handed him the letter, her chest heaving as if she couldn't breathe. He read it silently, then looked at her. "Emily, what did you say to him?" Emily covered her face with both hands. The memory of her words from Thanksgiving night came back like a knife twisting in her chest. The best gift would be for you to be gone. The house was quiet, but the weight of guilt was deafening. Later that day, she received a call from the bank. A cheerful voice informed her that her mortgage had been paid off completely. "Congratulations, ma'am. Your father really must love you," the banker said. Emily dropped the phone. Love. That's what it was. All those years, every sacrifice, and even now, after she had thrown cruel words at him, he still chose to give. But he was gone. Days turned into weeks. Thanksgiving passed, Christmas lights went up in the neighborhood, yet the house felt hollow. The children asked, "Where's Grandpa?"
Is he coming back for Christmas?" Emily couldn't answer. She just hugged them tighter, her guilt growing heavier every day. Meanwhile, in Hawaii, I sat on a balcony overlooking the ocean. The waves crashed gently against the shore. The sun painted the sky orange and gold. For the first time in years, I felt peace. But peace is complicated. Part of me missed them. I missed the laughter of my grandkids, the way Emily used to hug me when she was small, whispering, "Don't ever leave me, Daddy." And yet, she had grown up to tell me the exact opposite. Still, I had no regrets. I had given them freedom, financially, emotionally. And maybe, just maybe, sometimes a parent's love means stepping away so the child can realize what was lost. Back at home, Emily finally sat down with her kids. She told them the truth, that she had pushed her father away and he had listened. She expected them to be angry, maybe even to blame her. Instead, her youngest daughter said softly, "Mom, can we call him, please? I miss Grandpa." Emily broke down. She realized then that some mistakes couldn't be undone with money, with gifts, with anything except humility. She had to find me.
Emily sat at the kitchen table late that night. Her father's letter spread out in front of her like a wound that wouldn't heal. Her husband tried to comfort her, but she shook her head. "I have to fix this," she whispered. "I have to find him." The next morning, she began her search. She called his old friends, neighbors, even the travel agency he sometimes used. At first, no one knew anything, but finally, she found a clue. A one-way ticket to Honolulu had been purchased under his name. Her heart raced. "Dad's in Hawaii," she told her husband, her voice breaking. "Then you need to go," he said gently, "before it's too late." Within days, Emily was on a plane with her 2 children. The kids were excited, thinking of it as a vacation, but Emily knew this trip wasn't about beaches or palm trees. It was about redemption. Meanwhile, in Hawaii, I had settled into a quiet rhythm. Every morning I walked the shoreline with a cup of coffee. Locals greeted me warmly, and I even started sketching again, a hobby I'd abandoned years ago. But one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I saw something that made my heart stop. A little girl, running across the sand, calling out, "Grandfa!" I turned. It was my granddaughter. Her arms wide open, her face glowing with joy. Behind her, Emily stood, tears already streaming down her cheeks. For a moment, I froze. Part of me wanted to run to them, to scoop my granddaughter into my arms. But another part of me remembered Emily's words that cut deeper than any knife. The best gift would be for you to be gone. Emily walked closer, her voice trembling. "Dad, I was wrong." She swallowed hard, her eyes locked on mine. "I was angry, stressed, and I took it out on you, but I never meant those words. Please forgive me." Silence hung between us, broken only by the waves crashing on the shore. My granddaughter tugged on my sleeve, whispering, "Don't be mad at Mommy. She cries every night." My heart softened. I bent down, hugged my granddaughter, then looked at Emily. "Do you know what hurt the most?" I asked quietly. She nodded, tears dripping down. "Yes, and I'll never forgive myself for it. But Dad, please don't leave us for good. We need you." For the first time in months, I let myself smile. "I need you too." We embraced, not as a perfect family, but as a broken one, choosing to heal. That night we sat together on the beach, watching the stars. Emily leaned her head on my shoulder. just like she used to as a little girl. And for the first time since that painful Thanksgiving, I felt whole again. Sometimes the best gift isn't leaving, it's being forgiven.
The days that followed in Hawaii were unlike anything we had ever experienced as a family. Emily and the kids stayed with me in a small beachside cottage I had rented. The ocean breeze carried away the bitterness of the past, and for the first time in years, laughter filled the rooms again. One evening, while the children built sandcastles, Emily and I sat on the porch. She handed me a cup of tea, her hands shaking slightly. "Dad," she said softly, "I don't deserve your forgiveness, but thank you for giving it anyway." I looked at her. My once little girl, now a grown woman, her face marked with regret and love at the same time. "Emily," I said, "forgiveness isn't something you earn. It's something you give. And I gave it to you because you're my daughter, no matter what." Her eyes glistened. She nodded and whispered, "I'll never take you for granted again." The next morning, the kids begged me to take them snorkeling. As I held their little hands and guided them into the water, I realized something important. Being a grandparent wasn't just about spoiling them with toys or candy. It was about being there, showing them love, and teaching them that family isn't perfect, but it's worth fighting for. When the trip ended, Emily asked me a question I didn't expect. "Dad, would you come back home with us? Not as a guest, but as part of the family again?" I paused. For months, I had dreamed of peace and solitude, of escaping everything that hurt me. But looking at Emily, at the kids, I realized peace didn't come from running away. It came from healing broken bonds. So I smiled. "Yes, let's go home." Back in the States, things were different. Thanksgiving came around again, and this time, Emily stood up at the table. Her voice shook, but her words were clear. "Last year, I made the worst mistake of my life. I told my father that the best gift would be for him to be gone. But today, I know the truth. The best gift is that he is here." Everyone clapped, the kids cheered, and I couldn't hold back the tears. I wasn't just forgiven, I was wanted. That night, as I tucked my grandkids into bed, one of them asked, "Grandpa, will you ever leave us again?" I kissed her forehead and said, "Not as long as I have a choice." Because in the end, family isn't about the words spoken in anger. It's about the love that remains after the storm. And that love had brought us back together.